So today I'm going to talk about why I see house prices continuing higher despite all the media and the people in the YouTube channels talking about a housing crash coming. So stick around, we'll get into tons of reasons why I just see the prices going higher next year. So I hope you can forgive me that my videoing today is a little bit bouncy and everything else. I left all my recording stuff at the office and I don't have some of it at home. I was lucky enough to find a microphone, so hopefully you can hear me okay. But trying to hold the camera steady and everything else. So, welcome back to another episode of The Rational Investor. I hope you guys are enjoying your Thursday. I'm enjoying mine, getting to work from home a bit. Before I forget, if you haven't already, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. Also hit the like button, as I'm sure you know that helps YouTube's algorithm. And if you're enjoying the content, I appreciate you being able to do that because that helps other people find it as well. So let's get into the housing market and why I think we're going to see prices continue higher next year. So, despite the gloom and doomers being annoyed at realtors and people in the industry, now, for those of you who don't know, full disclosure, I also do mortgages as well. Selling the rhetoric of, buy the house, date the rate, because a lot of people envision rates coming down next year. And they don't see that as a possibility, they see it as a sales pitch. But what I'm telling you is I'm seeing that happen currently. Rates have come down and they're just beginning, and I see the volume picking up from people who are interested. And this time of year, typically things don't get busier. We tend to stay slow through the holidays. So it's interesting to see the buyers start coming back to the market already. And the Fed's already priced in. If you go to CME.com, you can see there's somewhere between 3 and 6 rate cuts being scheduled for next year. Now, that's not a guarantee, but the CME is usually pretty accurate. And as it gets closer to the announcement date, you'll see those firm up as to where they think the Fed will be, and they're usually spot on. So I picture the Fed cutting next year. You can see the 10 year has already fallen below 4% in rate, which is a pretty dramatic move just in the past month or so when it was at 5% not too long ago. Now, traditionally, a 30-year mortgage, and this is just a ballpark, this is not factual quotes or anything like that. But if you look at where the 10 year is trading and add 2% to it, that's usually about where you might get a loan on a 30-year mortgage with really good credit. Now that margin spread to 3 percentage points as the Fed was raising rates. Now my analysis of that is the banks were trying to be ahead of the curve. They were concerned that they'd continuing to raise rates and they needed to build in that margin in anticipation of rates going higher. Now that rates are coming back down, the margin is still 3%, but I kind of figure that margin might come in as well as the Fed cuts, that the 10 year drops even further, and you could potentially see rates continue to fall into next year. I also feel like since it's an election year, neither side, whether you're Republican or Democrat, is going to want to go into a bad economy. They're both going to want to claim that, look at what I did. Look at how much better the economy is doing. Rates have come down. We're making housing more affordable. And keep in mind, the Fed has two mandates, which is inflation and unemployment. That's their targets. That's what they pay attention to. Well, CPI is coming down. The interesting thing about CPI is it doesn't include home prices. It does include rents. And I don't really see rents skyrocketing again because part of what I think is going on with the rent prices coming down is you have people who have locked in interest rates super low. So even if they're looking to move and buy another house, there's a good chance they put their house on the market for rent because the math makes sense now instead of selling it and giving up that great interest rate that they got. So I think part of why you're seeing rents come down is more the people who bought previously when the rates were lower might be keeping those homes no matter what happens with the market because they're able to net cash flow. They have good cash flow coming in if they rent out the house instead of selling it in order to buy a new one. Maybe that's not the case. That's what I picture. I know that other people are talking about the Airbnb bust and everything else, and you're going to see all those homes come to the market. But if you look at the percentages and you're realistic about how much that should impact the market, it shouldn't be that big a deal. And if anything, it should just help give a little bit more inventory to the market. The other thing to keep in mind about the people who buy it for Airbnb, generally they're well capitalized and they're not going to be in this panic mode. To really cause a housing collapse, you need people to panic and sell their homes, which the only way I see that coming is if there's a lot of unemployment. So what I'm seeing happen is kind of what the realtors have been predicting, and all the doom and gloomers are getting really mad at, saying that's just some self-serving sales pitch, which is rates are coming down, buyers are coming back into the market. And I think, at least here in Las Vegas, by the time you hit March or April, we could be in a position again where you see home buyers bidding out each other on the lack of inventory because there still isn't a ton of inventory. Now, I am not a financial planner. This is not financial advice. You guys need to do your own research in terms of what works for you and the financial decisions you make. This is just my opinion, and this is just what I kind of think from what I see. But that doesn't mean I'm accurate or correct. And again, it's just what I envision. I think that housing has demand, and I think that there isn't a lot of inventory coming to the market. And I also think as you see rates come down, you're going to see more and more buyers come to the market. If we get into the fives, all of a sudden you're going to see people super comfortable to buy again. And by the time that they start coming in, because now they're comfortable that the rates are where they wanted them to be, it's a good chance the prices will be higher because the monthly payment is really what drives the prices. So, my advice, again, this is not financial advice, is if you're sitting on the sidelines, I'd hurry up before the opportunities disappear. When I look across the country, the places that have exploded, it makes sense to me why they've exploded. I mean, I think Florida was super undervalued forever, and I think Las Vegas was super undervalued. And now that we have the sports teams and F1, and by the time the Super Bowl comes around, we become an area where we just make more sense in terms of being higher priced homes. I don't picture it getting back to the times where homes are super inexpensive and that you can cash flow really easily on multiple properties. I think the dynamics have changed and that COVID has sped that up. I think we would have gotten there naturally anyway, but I think it would have taken a lot longer than it actually did. So that's my prediction on the housing market. Let me know what you guys think. And if you made it this far, just make a comment letting me know you made it this far. Maybe I'm just some idiot and I don't really see it correctly. I've just been really fortunate with my investments over the past 30 or 40 years. So I tend to get stubborn about it, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm accurate. So again, let me repeat, if you haven't already, do me a big favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I love all the comments. So feel free to make a comment. Tell me where I'm wrong, where I'm right, what you agree with, what you don't agree with. I really like the conversations. So have a great day. Have a great new year. If you don't watch the other videos, I'm sure I'll be posting more. I hope your Christmas was awesome. Ours was a lot of fun. Thanks. Bye bye.